Okay, so I guess like as you grow, you meet a lot of people from like many big backgrounds, and there's just some features that you notice from people, like the way they act. You kind of assume Guti Yabolo public or Yabolo private. And there's this just thing Guti, people from public school carry themselves this way, people from private school carry themselves this way. And it brings me to like kind of talk about my experience and like what I think in like the general sense of public versus private, because for my foundation phase education, which is primary school, I went to a public school, and then for my higher education I swapped between multiple private schools. So I'm kind of looking at my experience at primary. Guys, primary school is nice. Like, primary school was the bomb. So I don't even remember a lot from it, but all I remember was when it was the holidays, I couldn't wait to go back to school. Like, it felt like just the perfect days. You wake up, now malume yafika because there's different stages of my primary school. So umalume is basically like the guy or your transport basically. Malume yafika, and you go into the car, you fetch other kids that are all like, he drops them off at their respective schools, and then you go to your school. Fike laphayana, there abangani bakho nje kumnandi. Before ikhali belly, baleti, first period, nje kumnandi, guys. I don't even remember ukuthi sasifundani laphayana. And some days with Bali testy, you didn't even know which you're writing a test, and it's just epic for some reason. You breaky, kunje, like we have the most eventful breaks. So like in primary there was always this culture of like playfulness. I guess that's because it was like the stage where I guess you were young, right? High school, you dread waking up, you dread seeing that 6 o'clock. You have to be early, you dread being late, and everyone is just so like dull in the morning. There's no energy, and as the day progresses, less and less and less and less energy. And yeah, there were eventful lessons, but like on average your day consisted of the dreaded 6 o'clock. You get there, and umuntu nje nawe nje khonto secasulile ekuseni, you don't want to go to school, ufuna ukulala. Angiphathi if it was Mondays, like after the weekend, it felt like the weekend was draining you more. You get so much work, and when you go home you still have so much work, and in the morning you're like, did I do everything? Did I wada yabo? So that was kind of my cycles and comparisons of both schools. I'm not gonna name which schools I went to. If you know, you know, keep it to yourself, because I don't want people having like preconceived ideas of what that school is about, because my experience is different from your experience. And yeah, I have shared experiences with some people, but I don't want you to think like, okay, going into the high school she went to, I'm gonna have this experience, because I moved around a lot in high school. I even did homeschooling like before COVID. So yeah. So okay, let's get into today's topic more. Like, now we have the background, let's go into the depth of it. Basically, I feel like abantu abaningi lanje in South Africa, let me say South Africa, or people I interacted with, or even in social media, ngazuthi abantu who are in private school will have like, I don't know, they're smarter, okay, yeah, there is a better education system. They'll obviously they'll become, like, for them it's greater chances for them to be successful, which is relatively true, because I guess that's why my parents put me in a private high school compared to a public one. And you guys will go to, it's a better education system, yabo. And Futi, also, let me put this out there and call out our government. Number one, the fact that there's even like such a big distinction and a big like difference between you going to a public and private school should not exist. Everyone is entitled to the same level of education, and that should be a reality for all people, not just for people with money. Because private schools, they cost a lot of money. You need money. And Ayiko right, Leon, Mena, this is my viewpoint on school. I feel like education should be free for all, and high standards of education, like in terms of everyone should be receiving the highest form and highest level of education, and the only thing that you need to do is show up and put in the work in terms of your school. Abantu are stressed about money, are stressed about that. Everyone is entitled to education. Okay, back on topic. So I kind of view the Guti, I guess, private and public. I am going to compare because I didn't go to a private primary school and I didn't go to a public high school. I went to like both. So I just did public primary, private high. So when my first experience on going to a private school was, they will alienate you. You will feel alienated. You will feel different. You will feel like you do not belong. Let me tell you, like, people ask you questions of, because Pelamina, when I was in primary school, we spoke Zulu. And I was Miss J. If Miss J says I was George, and I was quite the school, and you're not gonna come home and be speaking English, like, yeah, well. So when I went to private school, everyone is judging. When I tell you everyone is judging. If I heard, that's how it sounded, like, for the longest time. And I'm not being rude, I'm being honest. So I think in my high school, like my grade 8, I don't know if I was the first, I don't know, like I think there were only like 2 or 3 people in my grade black people who like went to a public school. I still don't think, I think it was just me. Sometimes I felt like I was the only one. Because, tell me why a girl asked me, so like, why do you sometimes speak Zulu? Do you think in Zulu? And then you translate it to English. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, well, because I wasn't used to speaking English. I mean, I do not talk like this. I do not say, well, I go bed, guys. I go bed. And also, to upgrade. Okay, let me say this. Upgrade from primary school to like one of the top private schools in Durban. Okay, let me say in the Mhlanga area, like, let me just be vague like that. Trying to be specific. If you know, you know. If you don't, I'm sorry. You go from a place where a computer oibuga mawako or oibuga eskoleni, but it's not something you interact with, like, to the point of the way we interact with our phones today. So I remember we had like media studies or something like that. And like everything now, I'm assignment A2 has to be done, like typed out. We need slides, we need this. I'm like, yo, let me tell you my struggles with using. Let me tell you guys, that's why we must use Word. I mean, I still don't use Word till this day. You won't find me doing a PowerPoint presentation. You won't find me doing Word. I always use Google. And I don't know why. I just, yeah. So I remember I felt so dumb one day because also I have a problem with my vision. So I think we were like typing our school emails, and I couldn't really see the like key functions properly. Like the commas, the punctuation marks mostly, I couldn't really see them clearly because they were like small. So I kind of I was so like we're doing our email, right? And in the email you have like dots like .com, .co.za. Tando. She puts a comma, and I can see everyone is logged into their email thing because I know we're all doing it together, and I'm like, what's wrong with writing? So like I'm like embarrassed because I'm like I'm the only one who can't figure this out, and like in my head I'm like, ew, I don't know what to do. So I'm confused. Okay, time goes on. I just keep quiet and I'm like, okay, know what everyone is doing, and when I figured it out, I'm gonna do it. Then the teacher came to me. Yo, I was embarrassed. Okay, I figured out it was commas instead of things, and I guess like that's when I realized, because a lot of tech things are against me because of my vision. So I guess now I've learned to like optimize my tech for me. Like I always have bigger fonts, I zoom in stuff, and I kind of learned the keyboard layout. Like I know where the Q is, I know where the thing is, like I don't have to see it. Yeah. Also I used to type like very slow, but like I kinda took like a course, I didn't finish it, but like on like typing fast, and it really helped me. So to anyone who's transitioning from like using tech to not using tech, here's my advice. The best way, just get yourself a proper computer. Have a computer with like the full keyboard, not the computer without the numbers. It's just easier. Also, your stuff, guys. Google has your back. Google has Drive, has Sheets, has Docs, has kuningi. About everything I need to like word. Google it can. And the nice thing about Google is everything of yours is saved to Drive, and you can access Drive from anywhere. Like I say you left something at home, you left your speech at home or something. Ask your friend, bruh, can I log into my Google Drive account and access my speech, and you can print it. You don't need like I guess so annoyed with weird people. Everything is on their computer. If you left up here, you lose everything. I Drive, I'm the one who decides to go to, okay, I wanna take these things out, I wanna leave them. Like since I've transitioned from high school to uni, I've deleted a lot of things that I feel like I won't need to use anymore. So okay, backtrack. Yeah, I felt alienated, and I guess as I kind of transitioned, there was a point where I wanted to be like, I feel like I was like whitewashing myself in a way. Like I try to be quiet, I try to be, have an accent, like I try to fit in, sound like also now then I went into the pressure of, because I was in private school. Now everyone has expensive things, and one thing about me, my parents, they did not want me to have a phone. I did not have a phone for like the longest time, and even when I did get a phone, I'd get it and then it would get taken away. So I kind of was like, I don't have a phone. But me and my tablets, the rest have a tablet. Me and my tablets everywhere. And then I think once even still, like I was kind of embarrassed, like I don't have a phone. I don't have like my clothes are basic. Okay, my household is okay. From my perspective as a child, we live in a good household. Like I feel like my parents can afford most things, but my parents, they will not spoil you. You are not gonna get spoiled, honey. Like in terms of if you want something, you're gonna get it. It doesn't work like that. So I used to be like, yo, and I used to have these black sneakers, these black Adidas sneakers, and in my head I used to be like, okay, I'ma wear these all the time because they're name brand, okay. I wanna stick to the school uniform so that I like don't branch out. So like for dress up day, I still feel so self-conscious to go say, yo, mina ngigqoke lokhu, lona ugqoka lokhu, mina yabo, hey. But I kind of eventually got over that because honestly in my head, I don't know when it came, but there was this point where I was like, no one cares. Literally, no one cares about what I'm wearing. No one cares about the phone I'm carrying. No one cares about this and that. And even like in my other schools, in my other grades, with my other friends, like I remember there was one of my friends who was like, I don't wanna get a new, like I'm so embarrassed of my phone. Like she had a Samsung, like phone. And in my head I was like, as someone who didn't have a phone at the time, I was like, girl, are you kidding me? Because I was like, man, you take your phone any day. I don't mind. And she's like, yeah, because everyone is carrying an iPhone. Like, at my church, everyone is carrying an iPhone, guys. I'm not joking. Everyone is carrying, and everyone just simultaneously carries. It's like everyone is carrying the most latest iPhone or the most latest Samsung. And you're there, and you are phoneless. It's nothing, not nothing. You are there. It's just you. Like even now, like okay, I feel like I still have this vendetta because when I got my phone, it was like I'm gonna get a phone on contract, and I wanted a specific phone. So they were like, yeah, you can't get on contract because I was supposed to build credits on my accounts, right? So they were like, yeah, you need to build credits, whatever. And then my dad was like, okay, in 3 months you're gonna get your phone, but for now buy this phone. And that phone that I bought was like one of the worst Samsungs in all history. It's so bad, but I was like, okay, let me manage. It's the Samsung A02. Guys, do not get that phone. Like that's what my dad said. And now Chiki when I was reminding him like a few months ago, he was like, and then parents will ask you what's wrong with your phone. It's like some things you can't explain to people until they use your phone. Like it's like that thing, Guti, you don't know anyone's problem unless you get into their shoes. Because like if I were to give my mom my phone or to give my dad my phone, and then I told them, okay, do the daily things that you do, they wouldn't be able to. Like my phone is so restrictive in terms of I can't take good pictures with my phone. Like good video, good audio. Like sometimes, like it's very unpredictable and unreliable. Like I can't do like work on my phone. Like if you know me, I feel like I'm a very like tech savvy person. I love my tech. And there's just things I need in a phone that my phone doesn't have, but I've managed with it and I'm very happy with it now. Because I was like, okay, it's cool, let me just make the most out of it so I don't complain about it much. Like I was like, okay, it's literally the least of my problems right now. So like the phone thing, and then you get the way people dress. Expensive. It's like sometimes a dress up there is wearing a whole month, like 3 months of your food intake. Not even 3 months. At your household, you spend like, let's say, okay, I think you see average 2K for groceries. It's covering 5 months of your groceries in one day. Outfits. Guys, the things I've seen. It's like sometimes you ask yourself, how is this justifiable for a teenager? Like, why are you wearing such expensive things? Like, what happens if, okay, cool. What's the other like experience that you see differently? And also, let me point this out. Being a person of color in a private school will have you being treated differently by white teachers and by black teachers, by Indian teachers, by colored teachers. Teachers of all races will treat you differently because you are black. They will not treat every student like they are white. Still, we see white is superior. Guys, even in our education systems that claim to be, I think like in my school, they even, in my grade 12, I'm very happy they introduced this. I feel like a lot of people had mixed feelings about it. They were like, it's a waste of time. I feel like for us, because we were in the last year, they shouldn't have given it to us. But for other grades, like they should have started it off in like that grade 8 class that was there when we were in grade 12, and I started from there. People who just started high school, not to people. Okay, it was called RDP. No, RDP using RDF. I think I don't know, like our respective this diversity, inclusivity, RDI. I don't. What was it? Race? I don't remember. If you know, leave it down in the comments. I will comments what the thing was if you went to my high school, like in grade 12 class. It was like a RDI, RDF, RDP type of situation, but it was like kind of with aloe and it was not for mouths. So I feel like for that thing, it should have tackled more with kind of, I don't know, like we didn't really do much. Like the only lesson I remember was us. I don't know, like we were standing, I guess because that was the one that made me feel the most uncomfortable. We like stood in like terms of, okay, who weighs the most and who weighs the least, and like who's the youngest, who's the oldest, who's the lightest, who's like in terms of like that. Like that made me so uncomfortable. The funny thing was, like in our RD whatever class, I was the lightest person and I'm a black person, and the darkest person was also a black person. So it was like, cool. Black people have everything. We have darkies, we have like it's diverse in our own ethnicity. Not ethnicity, in our own race. So yeah, I feel like systems like that make it very easy, and I think the mistake they kind of made is have that thing be more teacher led or like syllabus led. I feel like that RD something class would have been very beneficial if it was student led, because every student has like students of a different time period have different like things they deal with. So like when it's teacher focused, it's like the thing of okay, every generation has to learn math like this, they learn this and that and this. But when it comes to like social things, every generation experiences things differently. So why are we all learning the same thing when it comes to like lessons like allo, lessons like that RD something thing? And since that RD something thing was with inclusivity and like kind of having everyone included, I feel like having a proper structured syllabus for it didn't really make sense. And Footy, the conversation it wanted to open, it didn't succeed because it was like teacher led. Kanti, if it was a lesson where, let's say, Utisha plays the role of more being a facilitator, like we come in and let's say there's like opening thing of okay, anyone who has something to talk about, like an experience they experienced, or like even if we were doing it anonymously, like no one has to see each other's faces, or something like that. I don't know how that would work, but if something could happen like that, so no one is saying it, like it was kind of anonymous so that people aren't scared and people can speak up. Okay, cooling about this week's experiences at school, like any minor like racial things you experienced, any things you want to change about school, any things you see from certain teachers, like treatment, like say a lot of things, and then there's like one general topic of discussion, and that topic of discussion is a broad one that can include everything. Like, for example, like today I'm talking about public versus private education, and I'm focusing more on my experience, and like it branches off into kind of everything, because I can bring everything in here about public versus private education. Like, I can bring in race, I can bring in social status, I can bring in money, I can be more political about it, I can be more social about it, you know. Like, yeah, the conversation just flows properly when it's not really that structured. Like right now, I don't really have a structure to what I'm talking about. It's just more like my experience, and my experience is a lot of things. So I feel like if that RDI thingy class was like that, it was like student led, because students will talk. We talk. You see me, I'm a student, I talk. So like, if we're all branching off each other's ideas, I feel like there's a much more like impactful conversation to be had than one that's like structured and in syllabus. Also, like, I feel like the time period, like, make it more, okay, basically, okay, before I ramble off, they should have just made it more discussion based, like more like peer focused and like peer engagement. Like, in terms of Kuti, the peers start the conversation, not the teacher, because the teacher doesn't know our experience. They are not a student, they are a teacher. That's why they must play the role of facilitator when there's like conflict. Okay, moving on. What else have I? Like, also, another thing about being a black person in private school. Like, there's some things you see that are just like, like once when I was in grade 9, like when I started at one of my new like private schools, not new, but like I changed schools in the middle of the year. There was like a teacher. So there's these girls, right, in our school, very beautiful women, I might say. If they know themselves, I just want to say, yo, girls are really pretty. Like, okay, I feel like to me it was kind of like, you know, the popular, let me just say the popular girls, whatever. And they were black girls, like, so queens shining in melanin, shining in body. So in our school there's like a dress code, right? But everyone kind of breaks the dress code. I'm not saying Guti must condone that, but I'm saying Guti, everyone must be treated the same way when they break the dress code. So obviously, most of you know, Guti, generally speaking, most black women have, I don't know, would I say a fuller body? Yeah. Not in terms of Guti, women do is doula. Like, they can be thin, but they gotta have that. They gotta have that booty. They're gonna have those thighs. They're gonna have, you know, the Coke bottle proportions, the egg proportions, the proportions. Yeah, well. I'm not trying to be rude. I don't know if that's coming off as rude. I'm very, like, I admire that. You know, it's beautiful. So the way things fit on a skinny white person are gonna be different from the way things fit to, the way I wanna name names, but like I don't think that's appropriate. So yeah, they're gonna fit differently, right? This is teacher, so like we should have like uniform checks, whatever. And then I think they asked him one day, and this guy's a white Afrikaans male, and he was like, because black women's bodies are like boom 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 boom, because he was asked, why don't white kids, like, why is it to go see a short skirt is more noticeable and like has more like punishment or talk when a black girl is wearing it than when a white girl is wearing it? And he's like, because black women have boom 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 bodies. Like, he made like these hand gestures, and I was just like, excuse, what you trying to say? Speak with your mouth, teacher. Speak. Why are you using hand gestures? We don't use sign language here. You know, like in my head I was like, speak, say, kulum. Because it's still the sexualization of black kids. Just because you have a certain body type that will be desirable by males, you have to be treated differently from how other people are treated. No, that even happens in school. Like, like blatantly, okay, it makes sense. But like now think about it, that's just wrong. Why are we all going to school? Why are we all roughly the same age, but we are treated differently? No, okay. Before I get into a heated conversation, we will talk about that more, like the sexualization of black kids, because we are also children. We also deserve a childhood, We'll talk about that more in another later episode. But I guess for today first episode, it's just different, and it's like there's so much more to talk about, but I do not want to keep you guys for long. And like I said, many conversations can stem from this. So today, as you've listened to this podcast, I want you to comment down below your experiences, whether you identify with some of my experiences, or maybe some things that I didn't experience, like, some things that you feel like, okay, I could have touched more on this, so we can kind of communicate in the comments down below. And please be respectful, be mindful, and I will delete rude comments. And if you have any criticisms or any suggestions on this podcast, and like how I could improve, leave them on the comments down below. So thank you guys for tuning in to Sithole's Take with me, Tando. You can call me Tando. Yeah, let's go with Tando. To me, Tando. So like, comment, subscribe, and please share so that we can grow, get better equipment. And if you like this, smash the like button. If you feel like okay, you can smash the dislike button. It's up to you. And thank you guys again for tuning into the show. I will see you next week, Thursday, on Sithole's Take.